I think that we had, recently there have been a number of atheist authors who have enjoyed a good bit of popularity, hitting New York Times bestseller lists with some atheist books and expressing atheist views. And, it's literally impossible to express an atheist view without launching what many people are going to consider, and what I don't think it would be unfair to consider, as an attack against religion. You do have to, in order to justify your atheist lack of belief in a God, address the claims regarding belief in God. And that's just kind of inherent in explaining your belief as an atheist. So the books themselves have been looked at by most religious people in the U.S., or people, I guess, that are into apologetics, as something that is offensive or intolerant. And they've been using the word intolerant quite frequently in response to these books, and I think more broadly in response to atheists generally. And we're going to look today at some definitions of intolerance and some definitions of bigotry and respect, and what it means to be tolerant of a belief, or what it means to respect a belief, or what it means to be a bigot. And starting out, I wanted to look at some claims that have been presented openly that are accusations toward atheists about their intolerance. So I wanted to sort of look at exactly what is being said when someone says an atheist is intolerant.
Right.
The first one is writer Kirsten Powers, who wrote an article called "An Intolerant Atheist," and it's a question mark. And she is specifically starts out her column discussing a book by Sam Harris called "The End of Faith." And she mentions that in the book it's been described as bashing Christianity as a fairy tale. One of the comments that she makes in regard to intolerance in the article that I'm mainly wanting to focus on is where she writes, "I always like to point out to my many atheist friends that I have never tried to convert them or ridicule their beliefs, but have been on the receiving ends of dozens of rants against my belief system, something that feels a lot like the person is trying to convert me to their way of life, atheism, all the while accusing religious people of being intolerant." To me, this is kind of it's sort of a backward way of saying that the atheists in her life, she feels some of them are intolerant. She's not coming out and saying atheists are intolerant. What she's doing is she's kind of saying there's a certain irony to an atheist trying to convert her, or do what she feels is a conversion, when they're calling Christians intolerant. So she sees this attempt at, what she's calling an attempt at conversion, which seems to be the atheists explaining their stance in a way that she feels like she's personally attacked in the dialogue. So she's equating intolerance with somebody aggressively going after your belief system to say, I think it's wrong and here's why, is what it sounds like to me. I think that's a fair assessment of her statement.
Yeah, and her comment that she's never actually tried to go out and convert any of her atheist friends. Well, first of all, other people are. But the bigger question is, I mean, if you're going to go make an analogy about things, I'd say you've never tried to convince me to shoot up heroin either, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be trying to tell you why heroin's a bad thing. And if you have this view, if your view is that religion is poison for the mind, that doesn't mean you're not necessarily beating people up saying, oh, you moron, but to express your opinion on it and try and talk about it with people, that's not intolerant.
Right, and we're going to talk a little bit about how people present and how it's perceived as intolerance. And I just want to say that for myself, I think that a lot of people recognize me when I dialogue as being a person that tries to avoid, personal attack. I try to avoid offensive language. I never attempt to incite somebody or upset them emotionally when I talk to them, even if I disagree. I know a number of atheists who are extremely, acidic with their delivery, and I'm not here to deride that or to promote that as a way of dialoguing, but I will say that no matter how acidic someone gets with their dialogue, it doesn't become intolerance until they refuse to permit something.
Right.
That's when it becomes intolerance, and that's what we're going to talk about. What this woman, I think, is describing is that she feels as though people are, attacking her belief system, trying to convince her their belief system is better. Someone trying to convince me that their belief system is better is not intolerance. That's simply them expressing their opinion about their belief system versus my belief system. That's dialogue, and there's nothing wrong with that. And even if they get vile in their delivery, even if they swear at me, even if they insult me, if, say offensive things to me, invoke my mother, whatever they want to do, it doesn't become intolerance so long as they don't take steps to force me to do or hold an opinion that they are promoting. They can talk about it all they want, and that's perfectly okay. And the manner in which they talk about it doesn't affect their right to discuss it. That's how I'm viewing this. And we're going to look at definitions later that, I believe uphold that as a definition for intolerance. Another writer, his name, he logs as, looks like Caridal, who wrote, "Both atheism and theism become problematic when they are coupled with intolerant rhetoric which seeks to paint all people who hold different or opposing beliefs as less worthy. For example, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian, but when the Christian creed is coupled with fundamentalist rhetoric which seeks to paint all non-Christians, including atheists, as one homogeneous group who are all inherently evil and worthless, it becomes a problem. Similarly, there is nothing wrong with atheism when it is coupled, wrong with atheism, but when it is coupled with fundamentalist rhetoric which seeks to paint all non-atheists as one homogeneous group who are inherently stupid, irrational, intolerant, and literalist in their reasoning, it too becomes problematic." Now, in my opinion, if someone holds a view that another group is stupid, irrational, intolerant, or less worthy, either way, if it's a Christian or an atheist, it doesn't matter to me, that is not problematic to me. A person can believe whatever they want to believe. He doesn't come right out and call it, intolerance, except at the beginning of the comment. He goes on to kind of voice it as being problematic, and I think he's linking that to the intolerance that he mentioned earlier. But the truth is, although he may perceive it as problematic, it's not intolerant. You can believe that people are less worthy than you, that their belief systems are less worthy than yours, and you are not intolerant so long as you are permitting these other people to express their belief, and you're not forcing your beliefs or your opinions onto other people.
One of the things that's a problem is that a lot of people end up personalizing this, and it's understandable because we're talking about, in many cases, core beliefs, and it kind of makes up who you are and everything. But I can very easily say that I hold someone's particular belief to be stupid, irrational, that it's not logical, it's not reasonable, there's no evidence for it, that they are making a bad decision, and their decision